There was no like moment where I like lost it, you know. I just gradually accepted it, you know. There's nothing you can do about it. You just kind of roll with it, you know. I mean, you can't have like a freak out and just like scream and like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't happen. Hey, how you doing, mate?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Could I please have a look at that guitar over there?
Yeah, the resonator? Sure.
Yeah.
There we go. There you go, man. Thanks. And you put me to shame.
Hey, thanks, mate. I really appreciate that, yeah.
I have to ask, man, what happened?
I'm Ripu. I'm 22 years old and I grew up in Takapuna in Auckland. Growing up, I was always quite shy and reserved, and I used to be really into music. I used to play a lot of guitar and that, and I used to write songs and lyrics and all that. And that initially led me to go into journalism, which is what I chose to study at university. And I studied at Auckland University of Technology. I did a Bachelor of Communications there. After graduating, I moved over to Sydney just to complete a master's. I was 20 years old at the time, and yeah, it was a really exciting time for me, just being in a different place and just a really big environment and meeting a lot of new people and just like living away from home, and it was a really great experience. I really grew into the person that I always wanted to be, and I felt very confident in my ability to succeed and where I was going in my life.
Sydney was a new chapter for him. The best year of his life and the worst. My son, he was at his peak, he was independent. I have seen him mature over the past couple of years into a fine young man.
Also, I was very comfortable in my own skin for the first time. I wasn't feeling very insecure or shy. Just that confidence really pushes you and helps you just chase what you're after, you know? Well, today is actually, it's been 1 year since I fell ill. Because I fell ill July 29th, 2015. And I can remember that last week so vividly, like it was yesterday. Everything I was doing, just like before I fell ill. Because that's really the last time I felt like myself. Basically, I had this really intense pain in my feet. It was like, how would I explain it? It's basically like really, really cold, but not cold, but like excruciatingly cold. Like I couldn't walk on them, there was so much pain. And I went in to see the doctor, and I was just lying on this bed, and all I can recall is there was a point where everyone sort of just like ran behind like a, kind of like a screen, as if like they needed to distance themselves from me, and the doctors came, they went and they came back wearing these masks, like these sort of like how would I describe it? It was like kind of like a hazard suit, you know, when there's like a helmet and there's like a screen, and it was like, and then basically he was saying, you know, you got to call someone, like, because before I'd been like, yeah, no, I don't want to call anyone, but he's like, you got to call someone, like, I really want you to call someone. So I called my dad.
When I first got the call from one of the emergency doctors, I was working up in the far north, Western Australia, in one of the country towns where I work every 6 weeks for a fortnight. And he said that my son Ripu was very sick, and they think he's got meningococcal sepsis.
Then I remember the doctor basically saying to me, like, you know, they were just kind of wheeling me away, and he says to me, like, you know, we're going to put you out now. It could be like days, could be weeks, could be ages, you know. And I was like, what? And then like they kind of lower this mask on your face, and then just, that's it. That's the end of the memories, kind of stopped there.
And then there was a phone call which just made everything go blank. where the doctor phoned and said, "I'm very sorry to ring you like this, doctor, but I don't think your son's going to make it beyond the next couple of hours." And my thought then was just, as a doctor on call, I would say to my juniors, just keep going till I get there. I didn't know, just automatically I said, just keep going, just keep trying. My wife will be there in an hour or two. She was already on the plane. We heard later on he'd actually got so sick that his heart stopped. And so as his mum arrived, they were reviving him, and they just started to revive him, and she got there, and the doctor said to my wife, he didn't suffer.
I just kept crying. That's how I remember. I was just crying and talking and crying and just saying, how come he's so cold? He doesn't like being cold.
Things really just went from bad to worse over the first few weeks. I could see the complications developing before the doctors told us.
I remember, like, I was just really out of it. I find it hard to put everything in order. Half of what I'm experiencing is just, like, my subconscious, like, my dreams. I remember thinking I was just going to uni and, like, I couldn't find any of my classes and, like, just weird stuff, you know what I mean?
I mean, he was my son, I recognized him, but he looked so different. I think it's almost like he's walked through a minefield and the bomb's gone off. And we don't know if he's going to come out of it for the first day or so. And then slowly the dust and smoke is settling, and we see this shadow of a figure. Hey, that's our son. We know it's our son, but what does he look like? What can he do? We don't know at the beginning what's going to happen. Over the first few days, you could see the fingers going black and hard, and the feet, they just became like dead, like a mummy or a corpse.
What really comes to me is I remember waking up, and I remember they're all covered up. My dad's like, you want to see it? And he kind of rolls back my sleeve, and like you see his hand, and it's like black as coal, and it's like sort of shrunken and crusty. And it's basically dead. But basically my legs were exactly the same as my arms. They were just like black. And I remember lady telling me, you know, you're probably going to lose them, the arms and legs. And I didn't really react to it. I just continued talking. She's like, no, I want you to really listen to what I'm saying. She's like, you're going to lose the arms and legs. And then I think I might have cried. But, yeah, it's just like bits and pieces. I can't really put everything in order.
I've looked after some children who with different problems as well, and lots of children with meningococcal septicaemia here in Auckland in the 90s. But I've never seen anyone as sick as my son that has survived.
And I remember at the time, I just wanted them off because they were dead and I couldn't move them. And I was like, I just wanted to be like, it sounds weird, but you just want the process to move along.
This illness is so bad, it makes someone say, look, they can chop my arms off. I'm frightened, but I'm really excited. And I can't wait to get it done. So, I mean, how terrible is this illness that it drives someone to say, I welcome going into a wheelchair, and please chop my arms off. He actually never woke up again for many months. He was sedated and given painkillers. He had to suffer through multiple surgeries. We thought we'd lost him again.
The disease started spreading, so they just had to suddenly rush me to surgery. I remember just noticing one day, like, yo, I don't have the legs. And it was weird, because initially I felt real stupid. I thought, oh, have I been really unobservant that I just didn't even notice when they did it? I felt really dumb, and I was like, I didn't want to say it to anyone, but turned out I just got rushed into surgery because it got pretty hectic, and they just had to chop them off. And they unfortunately didn't save the knees, which makes it a bit harder to walk.
Almost every organ was involved, his kidneys, his liver, he was bleeding from the tummy. We didn't know he'd make it. And we just thought all these operations could be too much suffering if he lost all of his bowel. And how is he going to cope? And so many things that just wore us out. You know, after all those years of studying medicine, treating children, the sickest person I've ever seen that survived for anything is my son.
I became, like, really small, you know? Like, obviously I was malnourished, I was tiny. Everything, like the world, it just seemed so much bigger, like people, you know?
And the realization hits home that actually, this is going to be a pretty hard, long battle, and how am I actually going to do this? I thought, well, we'll help you through, Ripu, and we'll get there, you know, and then we just sort of, we can do it, really.
I didn't really look at my face for a long time, you know. I just kind of knew about it. Because I knew my body was disgusting, so I didn't really want to see my face. I thought I wouldn't be able to handle it. There's nothing you can do about it. You just kind of roll with it, you know. Because obviously in my mind, I just the same. It's only when you see the mirror that you're reminded of what things changed. One of the problems is that my skin was really damaged, so I was all bandaged up, and it's really hard to do things. And they just had to keep working on my skin until my skin got better. And then once my skin got better, they were said, okay, now you can leave and go to a rehabilitation facility where you can just work more on your strength. Most days I sort of wake up,
No worries.
have breakfast, and just sort of hang out for a while and then go to the physiotherapy.
Good, good, good.
Slide them on. I'm looking forward to being able to walk. I think it'll open quite a few doors for me again. Be able to be a bit more independent, and I think it'll allow me to pursue a lot of different things. Yeah, let's get an angle, I think. Just... Awesome. Yeah, I feel more confident these days, eh?
Yeah.
Whoa. Awesome. I definitely look forward to coming here and trying to do some fitness. I wasn't overly into fitness, but it was something that I maintained, just to stay healthy and fit and all that, Oh, whoa, mate. That was a hospital pass, eh?
Very good.
Okay, whoa, okay.
All right, Ripu, so we need you to learn how to fall. We've got the soft mat there
Okay.
to minimise injury.
Yes.
Beauty.
I just don't really have the technique down there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Good parkour.
Parkour.
All right. Down.
Oh, you just about got out without the chair then.
Yes.
The challenge for Ripu is everything that he does with the prosthetics, it takes 3 to 4 times the energy that it requires for you and me to do. So just basic walking for him is like you or me running.
Hopefully, just get on the long legs and get back to my old height, You have to be quite precise, obviously, with the stumps, because it's quite easy just to hit multiple keys at once. With piano, you can generally break any song down just to chords and a melody, so I kind of just play the melody with my right hand and the bass with my left. It's quite simple, really. I mean, initially it was a bit hard to coordinate, but it's basically the same skill. It's kind of like if you were to play with just 2 fingers, I guess. In terms of the plastic surgery, it's not something I'm looking forward to because, honestly, they're kind of scary. Those in-between surgery phases, not very pretty. Even when I get one, I'm not expecting to, feel better because I know, yeah, I'll have a nose, but I don't think I'll look much better. I don't think having a nose will, solve my problems, I've just gotten used to my face, but obviously, part of the process, you should get one,
For next week, the idea is to set the stage for when we eventually come to reconstruct your nose. And there are actually 2 bits to the operation next week. One is to put an expander in your forehead, which will make an incision in your hairline and put a tissue expander there. It's just a small, hard piece of plastic, if you like, is how it feels. And then over time, it gradually expands. So at the end of it, when we're close to doing the next operation, it will be the size of, say, an apple.
So what will the final nose look like in the end?
It will be something that people won't look twice at you. They'll think that's your nose. When you are reconstructing such a large area, we just have to have realistic expectations. If it doesn't look quite right to begin with, then there may be operations to do some further adjustments.
Is it going to feel like how my nose used to feel like?
The feeling will be different because we can't reconstruct the nerves.
Oh, of course.
But it's not usually a big problem for most people.
Have you ever had to create a nose with this little to work with before, or?
No, it's pretty uncommon. We want to get looking good, though.
I started writing the blog, how it was like for me and how I was feeling and that, you know? The word disabled is one I found hard to digest. It was unsettling to hear and I refused to accept it. Ironically, I always wanted to be the centre of attention, and now I was. I began to retreat from the harsh reality of my situation to my memories. I was in Queenstown. I was on a train to Sydney. As sad as it may sound, these are the best things I'll ever have. You do feel like you've lost an opportunity, obviously. Just my mental state was obviously, I was feeling very positive and I felt like I was on the rise. I would have been 21. Yeah, it's very devastating to just feel like you got to go back home and you can't really prove to people what you would have done, you know? Especially because I never really did much in New Zealand, you know? I mean, I never was like an achiever in New Zealand. I mean, I never really believed in myself that much. I don't know why. And so I went to Sydney like at the perfect time when I was just like, I would have had 2 semesters left in my masters. Had the masters at 22, I would have been so set, you know what I mean? So obviously, it is kind of annoying. And it does, like, it affects your confidence and, you know, you feel quite negative about it, you know, just how it is.
What?
It's hard to, like, just feel, like, normal, you know, like, because obviously you just kind of stand out and, like, you're kind of, like, unfortunate, I guess. That's how they view us, unfortunate. And, yeah, a lot of, like, awkward conversations where people try to make conversation out of it. Everyone's obviously really nice to you, but it's hard to, like, determine what's really genuine, you know? Because everyone's obviously just going to be like, yeah, sorry. It is what it is, you know, and obviously, like, I mean, I say I accept it, but I don't really. Obviously, it bothers me, you know? I get quite annoyed and that.
Do I go down the road?
I mean, I suppose on the streets, you get people staring at you. And then sometimes people will be a bit uncomfortable, I think, in a way. Like, they're not sure how to act or something, or, like maybe be a bit overly careful about things.
Yeah, they do. They look at him funny. I get a bit annoyed, if I'm being honest. I find it really annoying. And sometimes I tell them off. I'm really proud of him.
The aim is to get as independent as possible. There's a lot of different hurdles, but I guess the most important thing is just to get myself to be able to do more things on my own. I feel a bit like I'm kind of stuck in a place. I'm sort of stuck in a particular position and I'm gradually trying to move forward, and it's quite slow in that. And obviously I see everyone around me just moving forward and I feel a bit like I'm kind of a bit left behind in a way. It's a bit of a funny stage, I guess. Like, no, there's actually like heaps more like... My friends have been really great. They just treat me the same as always, and I think it's quite important to have that environment of people, just be myself and just joke around and that, yeah.
So what does the surgery, like, involve?
They're going to be reconstructing a nose from scratch, pretty much. So it's going to basically look like I have like a tennis ball shape on my like forehead. He said he's never done it before as well. They know who you are as a person, and you're essentially the same person. You just look a bit different on the exterior. They were cool, you know, they were just the same boys, and I just hang out with them. It's exactly the same, only I don't hit the club with them or like go out and party with them, but I still like, I'll grab a beer with them, I'll watch rugby with them, and I'm not really much of a party person anymore, you know? It's just because I don't feel like that confident. I don't want to get in people's way being in the wheelchair, so I just kind of chill out. I mean, I feel like my youth is gone. Like, I used to look good and now I don't. And, like, I feel like someone would have to go out on a limb to, like, you know, want to get to know me in that way. So, I mean, it's just not really, major. I mean, I guess it was on my mind for a bit, but now I've kind of put it on the shelf. I don't really think about it too much, you know? It is quite intimidating thinking about what will happen down the line. It's just kind of hard to imagine living like this for so long. I do obviously miss being able to just like go out and just feel great about yourself and just meet different people. At the end of the day, it's just not an ideal situation to be in, and I'm just doing what I can in it, you know? I don't think anything really positive has come out of it in terms of improvements in my perception of things. I mean, I can't really see any pros at all, really. I mean, quite frankly, it's worse than it was before, quite obviously.
He was on a springboard about to take off, and somebody just decided to sort of take the springboard away and just let him fall down the canyon. And that just thinks like, well, if you're going to say life isn't fair, well, what's the purpose? This just says, well, that's not fair, is it?
I started playing guitar in my first year of high school when I was 13 years old. I took lessons for about 4 years. It was like a hobby of mine, but I was also real passionate about it, you know? I kind of gravitated towards blues music. Things about the blues, it's all really about feeling rather than technical ability. It's a great thing for me to do and just like sort of release, I guess, a lot of what I have inside me and just like, you know, just pour it out on the instruments. It's just a really good escape, you know. I have like a Facebook page where I chuck up videos of myself just playing guitar and piano, and they're quite easy to access. The North Shore Times picked that up and they did a story which got picked up on the internet, and that got picked up by a couple of different publications and in different countries and that. It was quite nice just knowing people were appreciating that, and it's one of those things that's like a bit short-lived, I guess. It just becomes quite popular and then goes down again, but it was quite a nice little thing to happen. This is Maria, my support worker. She's actually just like a good friend now, just someone who I can hang out with.
Which one?
I'm very dependent on other people to help me, and basically everything. That's a big thing for me. Like, I literally can't really go anywhere by myself. And also just like basic things always require assistance, which is obviously very frustrating in terms of like the future. Like, am I ever gonna live by myself? Like, if I'm in a relationship, like what is gonna happen? Like, am I gonna have someone come in all the time to help me? Like, and it's very like, I guess like uncomfortable in a way. Like, it's not something you really want to share with people. Like, you don't want people to know that you need help with all these things. It's quite difficult, I guess, for me in terms of just being able to present myself well and like just wanting to look good and that. I struggle with that, like just insecurity. Maybe a lot of people have insecurities, but just, I mean, I just feel like I'm quite small and I'm quite like not very good looking, and yeah, just to other guys, and like I don't feel like I'm like anything, you know, if that makes sense. Sometimes when I look back on my life, I feel like I'm watching a movie. It seems completely detached to the reality that I'm living today. I often wonder if I'm lost in some lucid nightmare and all I can do is hope to wake up. I guess in times like these, you have to focus on what you can do rather than what you can't. I really thought I could have done something big. Now I'll be like, you'll never know, you know, what could happen, you know? Like, no matter what I do, it'll never be as good as what it could have been, is how I think a lot of it, which is quite cynical. And also just like, no matter what I have, I'll never have like one up on anyone, because they can always just be like, yo, well, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I can never really be like the best, I guess. Someone that I'm just completely content with.
So one of the main things about rugby is your classification, like the numbers.
Yeah, I've heard about
So you can have up to 3.5. So Adam's a 1, so this is how hands don't really work. I'm pretty high in terms of like lots of hand function. But the big thing I don't have, which is the way the game's gone, is it's all about trunk control. So I'm like paralysed from the chest down. Whereas you'll be able to like move a chair with your trunk basically.
Every team wants a quad amp in their team because they're so physical. You know, you've got your whole core to turn your wheelchair, and you know, there's a majority of quad amps are superstars in the sport.
I'm feeling a little bit anxious about just getting smashed out there. Wouldn't want to go fly. Wheelchair rugby, it was quite cool. I'm not sure if it's my thing at the moment, but I've never been the most comfortable in those kind of like sporting kind of environments because I was never really that into sports. But I can see why a lot of people would love it, and that's great. I guess I'm more just into, I have slightly different interests. But it was quite fun. If I get a bit more practice in and like, I mean, I can see myself coming here regularly. It seems like we're all kind of, I guess, on the same playing field, to be fair, so that's pretty cool. I'm gonna go.
Ripu inspires us every day. You know, he wants to get his life back, and he is trying his best. Even if it's a sad day with Ripu, he wants to come out of this sadness. He really wants to make us feel happy and himself being happy. I have this feeling that he is gonna be doing something amazing. I don't know what. He was always a very strong character, and I'm so glad it's still there. So sometimes I feel like nothing wrong has happened. He's still the same Ripu.
He's himself, I think that's the thing. He's changed, obviously, but that inner strength and that inner core is Ripu.
Used to come here a lot back in the days, you know. It's a lovely place just to chill out and reflect on things. And I find myself a lot of the time just thinking back to how I was and where I would be now. I imagined when I went to Australia, I'd come back, I'd return like different, but I didn't expect it to be in this sort of way. But I guess you can't always plan what's going to come next, you know. Definitely, you know, a turning point, everything that went down, and I guess you start to appreciate like kind of like simple pleasures in life, like just coming out here and just chilling out. I mean, I feel good right now, you know. I mean, when I don't really think too much about everything outside this moment, you know.